Hello, it's Lauren Kearley. I'm here for another episode of trying to raise money for my charity water birthday campaign. For the last couple of videos, we've gone east, west, and north of my house. So today we're going south to Albany, New York, the capital of New York State, and we're going to collect water from the Hudson River as best as we can. I know obviously I wouldn't be walking all the way to the Hudson River. It is a 4-hour walk, more than 4 hours, about 13 miles away from where I live. But when I first moved to upstate New York, my husband and I had an apartment in downtown Albany in Center Square District. So if we still lived down there and we didn't have access to running water, our closest and most convenient water source would be the Hudson. So let's see what that looks like. Please consider donating to my charity water campaign. I'm so thankful that my friends and family have helped me reach my $500 goal for my birthday, but we still have some time left, so any dollar amount counts, helps towards provide clean water projects to somewhere in the world, and Charity Water will provide proof. 100% of our donations will go towards that water project, and they will provide proof to us in about a year's time of what that water project went towards. So it'd be really exciting to see kind of where our money went, the most we were able to raise. Thanks, let's get started.
Over his head like a crucifix, or some huge umbrella, and Sissy walking beside him, feeling love for him as a human, but also with the comfortable affection and unspoken communication one has with him.
Everyone loves a comeback. Now dry hair can have one too, with new Elvide Extraordinary Oil Hair Treatment from L'Oreal Paris. In just 1 week.
Hi, we're down here at the Corning Preserve boat launch. It made more sense to just come straight here. We're in downtown Albany near the Hudson River. I brought a variety of supplies because I didn't know the best way to get the water from the river. Obviously Albany has a ton of history, the Hudson River has a ton of history and importance for the area, but I'm all fact out. You can go look that up and figure out the history yourself. Today we're just going to be collecting our water and discussing some of the ways that other people have to collect water in the rest of the world. So I think what I'm going to do is use some of my rope from the waterfall trip to lower my bucket into the water. I have a pole in case I have to push it because I'm worried that it might float, and then we'll funnel it into my gallon jug. I'm not an expert in tying knots, but I am going to do the best I can to not lose my bucket in the Hudson River. My husband would not be very happy with me. It's pretty good. Let's go down. While I could go to the end of the boat launch and hold my jug into the water as I've done in previous videos, I wanted to try this technique since many cultures without access to clean water have hand-dug wells. They have to lower buckets several hundred feet down and hoist them up with a rope. While I can easily lift my bucket afterwards, these communities have tree limbs placed on the edges of the well to provide leverage in pulling the bucket. You can see this in several pictures on Charity Water's website as the ropes leave deep indents into the trees. Unfortunately, due to the pressure, it's very unreliable, and when the ropes break, women and children have been known to fall into the well or fall backwards and get injured. This process also leaves their hands hard and calloused, but it is their best option to meet their need for water at this time. The bridge you see behind me is the Livingston Avenue Bridge. It was built in 1866 to allow trains to cross from Albany to Rensselaer. The section with the cables above it was allowed to swing and rotate so that bigger ships could pass through on their way to Troy. While it is still in use, the Department of Transportation considers the mechanism unreliable, and the bridge itself doesn't meet current railroad standards. So in this video, because I'm not such an expert in all the facts around this area, I kind of am an expert in human behavior and people. I've studied psychology since my undergraduate, and I'm currently an outpatient mental health counselor for children and adolescents. So something that comes up in my job sometimes is kids coming to their counseling session and complaining that their parents aren't giving them their phones, their iPads, their video games, and I sit down and say to them, you know, parents are only required to provide you food, water, and shelter. Actually, I don't even say water, I usually say food, clothing, and shelter. So the fact that I don't even think about specifying water because it's such a prevalent thing in our society that we don't even think that we need it is interesting. But I sometimes bring up Maslow's hierarchy of needs to them until the bottom tier is about safety and just meeting our basic human needs. And if we don't have that, we can't develop love and belonging and self-actualization all the way up at the top and be the best people that we can be. So water, I think, is the first step to having that because it is our first human need that if we didn't have it, we wouldn't be able to be here. While I admire this view of downtown Albany, I've been thinking of how important water is to my life. I know I have taken my access to clean water for granted, especially when my water had to be shut off in my house for 2 to 3 days for plumbing issues. It gave me the tiniest glimpse of what life is like without running water. I didn't shower for those 3 days, and that made me feel self-conscious in public, wondering if people would think I smelled. I had to flush my toilet with a bucket and refilled my water bottle at work so I could rinse after brushing my teeth at night. I eventually got creative and microwaved some of the bucket water and used that to wash up a bit. But at the end of the day, I knew I would get my water back soon, and it wasn't a huge hardship. Even when people in our lives do construction or remodeling and lose access to their bathrooms, we know it will only be temporary, and that once water is restored, it will be clean and hot. We can go to friends' houses or the local gym or community center for a shower and buy bottled water at the store. This is hugely different compared to people who don't have water in their homes at all, have to shower using a bucket of cold water, and walk for hours to gather dirty water to drink and clean with. If I stopped having access to clean water tomorrow, I have the materials and knowledge to boil it to kill off any germs. People in other countries either don't know this or don't have the charcoal or other materials to boil the water before use. If I had to give my animals water, I could go outside and gather snow that would melt relatively quickly for them to drink. My husband has an ingenious system in our chicken coop using a 2-gallon bucket, a block of wood that floats on top to gauge when it's running low, and he installed a heater from a fish tank to prevent it from freezing in the winter. I also know people who love camping, and I found out that you can buy water purifying tablets to put in a variety of sizes of water, and as it dissolves, it cleans the water to make it safe for drinking. These are relatively cheap by our standards, around $5 for a pack of 100, and it's used by aid agencies in emergencies throughout the world. We have developed so many ways to clean and purify our water that it's worth several $billion in industry. Besides Charity Water's valuable purpose in providing clean water to communities around the world, I was also inspired by how they presented their cause to the public. Unlike commercials I remember seeing as a child that showed sad, dirty children in poor countries and tried to make you feel guilty in order to donate to help them, Charity Water's tone is one of hope. They have brilliantly written stories and videos on their website that always seem positive and encouraging, even when they're talking about very difficult topics. Families in the Sahel region, the transition zone between the livable savanna and the Sahara Desert, hoist buckets up 10 times a day and are just trying to survive the harsh environment. When they receive a well that isn't going to run dry regularly, the children attend school and women grow vegetable gardens for additional food. Tariq from Ethiopia puts our American Charity Water staff to shame when she easily carries her water up a steep and rocky cliff as he pants and almost passes out. Natalia from Mozambique is the shy but strong president of her water committee at only 15 years old. Davizan in Malawi started walking for water at a young age because he thought it wasn't fair for his mom and sisters to do it all on their own, giving them more time to do other things and diminishing the gender discrimination in his community. But walking for water in these countries can still be dangerous. Not only does the heat cause exhaustion and there's potential for animal attacks, but women are also targeted for abuse. Grace and Sarah, sisters in Uganda, were both raped in separate incidents collecting water, and after giving birth to their sons, it changed their career paths from being doctors to teenage mothers. And poor Lidikiros died tragically at 13 years old after attempting to collect water for over 10 hours due to the dry season in Ethiopia. Charity Water is doing so much to make clean water available to everyone in the world, and I hope you'll visit their website and take a look at some of these incredible stories. They are definitely uplifting and inspiring. I'm back at home, and I'm quite surprised that the Hudson River water wasn't as dirty as I expected. There's one little piece of paper floating around in it. I'm not sure if it's going to come out in the glass, but it might actually be the cleanest water that I've collected so far, so let's see. Like I expected, the little piece of paper that was the only debris in the big gallon jug did not come out, and the water just has the slightest little tinge. You can see like one or two little things floating around, but relatively clean looking. So I guess we're lucky in Albany that if you live down there and had a drink from the Hudson River, you may or may not have as much of an issue as the rolling streams that I have out here. Here are our last 4 walks for water. Poston Hill Creek. Let's shake it up so you can see if there's anything in there. Barber Hill Falls. The Van Skyke Pond. Thanks for my correction of my accent. And Hudson River, which only has one little piece of water floating at the top. But other than that, the 3 from the creek seem to be dirtier to me. Do any of you have explanations? Comment below on why the Hudson River would be so much cleaner than all these other streams and lakes nearby my house. I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and I found it very interesting to see the real water quality in my area. If you've enjoyed watching these as well, please like or comment below and let me know if you'd be interested in me continuing this. I certainly have had fun, but the problem is my technology is a little outdated, so if I do continue the videos, I'd have to resolve that issue in order for me to continue. See Charity Water's website to read their impact stories, and you can visit my campaign for updates until the end of the month. Thank you so much for watching and donating. Bye for now.